How do you start a business?
My journey is so much different than yours because I didn't make more than $30,000 a year until I was 30.
People have told the founder of Uber that this idea was look where we are right now. Anything can happen.
If you're doing software, any engineer that touches your code or your product, make sure that they're saying that you own 100% of it, because that could become a problem if people come and say, this is my software, my proprietary stuff. There's never that perfect time to start anything. And I think people are always waiting for that right time, right place.
In some way or form, an entrepreneur has to have this kind of risk-taking spirit.
I had to fire people and hire better people.
Jesse, thank you for joining, CEO of Batch Data. You've done well. You've started from, as far as I know, nothing. You've built a business. You've actually sold a share of it, and I believe you're in a happy place right now. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. Let's start with that, and we'll take it from here.
Yeah, I'm Jesse Burrell, and Sean, thanks for having me. CEO of Batch Data, which used to be Batch Service, had a suite of products. Was fortunate enough to find a great partner to sell Batch Leads and Batch Dialer to. And I am originally a real estate investor that was just trying to find a better way to scale my business. And it turned into me building some really cool software products that got to touch and help a ton of people, reach their dreams and get more deals. So I have a pretty interesting journey. It'll be fun to get into it with you.
Yeah, I'm curious, man. I got one question. How do you start a business? Let's just start at the basics, How did you start your business? How do you start a business?
I get this a lot from new people, to be honest with you. And it's just, you just go kind of do it and figure it out. Like there's never that perfect time to start anything. And I think people are always waiting for that right time, right place. They're fully prepared. You never are. You never know what's going to happen. So, especially if you're young and don't have a family and just a lot of responsibility, it's okay to fail. I'll tell some stories about me failing. I'm sure you have some as well, but I think people's biggest hurdle is just going and starting to do it. And I think the even bigger hurdle, especially today, is people want to be taught and their hand held on how to start making money and have this business that's successful. Like it's no one's job to teach you how to do that. And there's not a single mentor that's going to spend that much time with you, or you're going to spend that much money to get there. You kind of just, like true entrepreneurs, they have a thing they want to do and they're obsessed with figuring out how to accomplish serving a need for someone else. Like that's the simplest way I could put it.
No, I dig it. And I hear the mistakes, man. I mean, I've made my fair share of mistakes. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when I was younger, somebody actually told me, it's like, you're not an entrepreneur until you went bankrupt. Well, I haven't, but I've been close. So I know that pain. I know the pain of being broke. I know the pain of failing. And funny enough, I also know it might have been pain, but I also know the delusion maybe, or so they call it perseverance. I call it delusional mindset, where I think it doesn't exist and I just continue and I just go. And I think in some way or form, an entrepreneur has to have this kind of, risk-taking spirit, where you can't just say, hey, I'm going to start a business and everything needs to be perfect for it. It's not a job. You don't get everything handed to you, and there's a lot of risks involved. How was that journey for you? Like, how did you start Batch, and how did that go?
Yeah. When I was younger, I wanted to be a professional poker player. So I think I've always had a gambling aspect to me. And I went broke so many times playing cards and having a part-time job, serving tables. Like, hey, I have a good month, I give my shifts away. I had a bad month, I'm picking those up. So I think once I started doing it, and my journey is so much different than yours, because I did that. I kind of messed around in my younger 20s. I wasn't really super focused. I wanted to chase girls and have fun and play cards and drink a bunch of alcohol. Don't do really any of those things anymore. But, I didn't make more than $30,000 a year until I was 30. So like I'd been broke for so long, and seeing my friends start to have success, when it was my time to just go and try and bet on myself, I was like, I don't really have a whole ton to lose. I didn't have a family. I didn't have kids. I got set in that real estate world to where I got to go work for a real estate investor for a year. I got to learn a ton, and that I made like 45 grand working for him. And then soon after, I felt like I was really good at it, and I wanted to go flip houses, and I wanted to go wholesale houses, and I wanted to go buy rentals, and I wanted to have my real estate license and help people buy and sell. And I very quickly got good at that. And as I said, made a bunch of money doing that, which was very fortunate. And then I had that business really humming. And as I said, Batch all stemmed from trying to grow that business. So luckily with Batch, and I partnered up with two people there, my partners, Annie and Evo, and they had a successful real estate business as well. So we were able to really pour a lot of our profits that we're making. We got profitable quick. We were really right place, right time, put fuel on the fire. And that's where we really got to develop the shit out of our product, where I didn't need to take money home for the software business because I was making so much on the real estate side. I was taking home 7 figures a year on the real estate side. So this was just like a fun side thing. And then that got so big so quickly, we actually shut down the real estate side. That was really hard for me to do, for the simple fact that my identity really came from, I felt like I became successful through real estate, and it was hard for me to detach from that. Calling myself like a software guy, I felt like, because we're selling software in real estate, and then I wasn't doing it anymore, and I kind of felt like a fraud, and I had a lot of this imposter syndrome going on. And it was really interesting, but I knew that this software was really where I loved to help people, because I wasn't the coaching type of personality. That wasn't what I was good at. But I was like, if I could give people a really good tool to fulfill their dreams through software that they're using through us, that's where I really got my why. I got to help other people because I was there and broke and got to go have success. And my part of their journey was through a really good software. So that's kind of a short / long-winded story.
Yeah, that's a crazy twist. But I think, looking back, so making 30 at 30, essentially at 30K, 30 years. That's, I don't know the reference point in where you're from. At 30K in certain areas can be a lot. 30K can be a little. Depends on, in San Francisco, 30K will get you through the month. So it really depends on where you're sitting at.
Yeah.
From that period in time to now, that's a major difference. And I think you can, from what I'm hearing, is you had the benefit of having, I always say you have capital M mentors and you have lowercase mentors. The capital M is like, hey, I'm a big ass mentor and hire me. I'm a guru. I'm a coach. But then you have the normal mentors who are like, those are the people you work with, who you spend time with, who teach you something based off, hey, we're together. I'm going to teach you, kid. I'm going to show you how it goes. And I've had the luck of having 4 of those myself, but it feels like one of them actually showed you the ropes and showed you how to move on in life.
Yeah, I had a few of those on the real estate investing side. And then there was a small group of us. I'm Phoenix based, so there's a lot of real estate investing going on there. And I was lucky enough to be successful to where when all of us, there's like 5 or 6 of us that were really driven, really ambitious, and a couple of them became famous real estate coaches. We went the software route. A couple other people went just becoming really, really big operators in that investing space. And we were all mentors to each other in different ways and looked at each other's business and supported each other and all had some type of influence to where it was really the circle that I was around. And like, I never felt like my success was enough because there's other people pushing just as hard or harder than we were and having crazy success as well. So I felt like I was always chasing. We never really got complacent because everyone's goals were so ambitious, and really, really thankful for the group that I got to be around during that pivotal time in my life, because it really shaped where I am today, to be honest with you.
I hear you on that. And it kind of feels like there was, that I'm trying to find the right wording for, but in a team, you want to push each other. Like I was a band of brothers, right? You want to push each other to the top. And at the same time, there's a lot of banter in terms of, hey, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. But at the same time, if you fall down, I'm going to be the guy that's going to pick you up. Right. And I feel like there's always this negative view on, the real estate market and the people in there. I'm not going to lie. It's like they're assholes. At the same time, your guys, you had a dream. And one thing I hear from you is you were a chaser, but did something change along the way where I feel like something change along the way? That's the question, actually. Did you become a chaser there, or were you already a chaser? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Cause I like to be quite candid with you, like throughout my 20s minus a few good scores in poker, I never had more than $5,000 in my bank account, like ever. I've talked pretty openly about that. Like, I was living literally paycheck to paycheck. And there was a point in my life to where I was coming back. I did internships for golf in Tahoe and came back, lost all my money in Vegas, didn't have a job lined up in Arizona to finish up at ASU. And like, I had to go to like my little sister's house just to eat food, dude. Like it was to a point to where it was pretty wild, to where it got tough. My parents didn't have extra money at the time. And, I kind of had to take a look at myself, but that was kind of the tough times. But as you're saying, I always like believed in myself, but I never think I found the right people that believed in me. Cause like once I got in my later 20s and I went back to school to finish up school, I kept meeting all these people that were making a bunch of money. And in my head, I didn't say this externally, but I'm like, they don't seem to be like all that much smarter than me, or they don't seem to be like, like what do they have that I don't? And I came to realize it was just getting an opportunity to go be successful and work hard. And I never really got that opportunity. And I'm, such an idiot. And you talk about the perseverance. It took me like 10 years to graduate high school. I got my AA, and then I kind of went to ASU and was dicking around. I just refused to give up. Like, that's just like, it may take me longer, but I'm not a quitter. I won't do it. And I got to a point to where once I finally got around a person that believed in me, that gave me an opportunity, then the sky was the limit for me. The belief and the confidence kept growing and growing and growing. And I was just absolutely obsessed with it. Then once I got to become like a leader and start pouring into people and build a team, like I was just obsessed with how can I get better at it. And I just started reading a lot more. And that was another big change for me, was being way more curious and learning about self-development, learning about business, learning about leadership, learning about SaaS. Like I didn't know anything about software. I was a real estate guy. I didn't even know what an account manager was, an account executive was, I knew nothing. I just knew what I wanted to go build, and I can make a bunch of money if I find the right people. That's all I knew when I first started software. I knew nothing, nor did my partners. None of us were software technical. None of us.
There's this quote that's keeping me up sometimes, which is dumber people are doing better than you, because they don't have the thresholds. And I'm not saying dumb as in idiots or whatever. No, everybody has their own. But the overthinkers, the people that know too much sometimes, are too bothered by things. And one thing I've learned in life, and you spoke about your personal developments, the books and everything else. I've gone through this process recently. And that's why I'm starting this podcast. But one of the things I've really learned is just do it. Right? There's this little thing inside of the back of my head, which was always doubting. And you talked about it, like maybe feeling like an imposter, maybe, not being confident enough to do, or fearing potential failure. Well, look, let's fail. Let's fucking fail. What does it matter? We'll fail, we'll learn, we'll grow. And it seems like you did a lot of that once you got into the right situation, once you've got it feels, that's what I'm saying. It feels like you came alive in the right circumstances, in the right environment, essentially. Something had to wake you up.
Yeah. And it was, having my first partners, that gave me the opportunity in the real estate investing space. We ended up, splitting up actually. And I kind of put that band together. So I have a chip as well, to where they came to me one day and said, hey, this is where we want to go. We actually don't believe that you can help get us there. And it's funny that with what I grew and what they ended up doing, they're actually really good friends of mine still. So I don't tell the story completely honestly like this too much, because it makes them look bad. But they're not going to see this podcast. Probably they're not in the software space. or tech space. But they really put a chip on my shoulder, not believing in me after they believed in me, but saying we were all young. It was all of our first business together, and we had a consultant come in and gave all of us some poor advice. You know what I mean? And they're both, I'd say, more of a technical operator side of things. So I knew where they were great and show their value. I was really the CEO, visionary leader, team leader, culture leader. And when they stripped that away, I got to bring when they bought me out, I got to bring every person I wanted because they worked for me. They believed in me. They didn't believe in them. They built the stuff, but they didn't foster those relationships. And that was a great learning lesson for them. And it was a great learning lesson for me too, to make sure if I were to partner with someone again, that they are the right people. They understand where my value is. I understand where their value is. And with my two current partners, Andy and Evo, we basically dated for a year to where we each had our own real estate operations. And at the same time, we were doing this software thing together, but it wasn't a formal part. We're still figuring out if it's something we wanted to grow and do really big together. And I was like, if we do this, if we do anything together, we do everything together. There's no side projects. Like if someone's time pivots, we all get paid on it. And they agreed to that because my other two partners, they're married now with a child and the second one on the way. They started dating. So then I started getting like pushed out of decision making, and they wanted to flip houses on their own. I'm like, so do I just like work for you? And you guys go do this other stuff together? Like, I was like, that's not fair to me. So I had a pretty big chip on my shoulder. And I dug into that probably the first 3 or 4 years when I was really building this to really not just prove to them, but prove to myself that like, I do got something special and I'm going to fucking show you. I do have that cold nature to me as well. I'm hyper competitive, and I'm not like that anymore with them. Like, but they really fueled me to prove to them that like, you guys made a mistake.
I think there's nothing better motivated than somebody talking you down if you got that spirit. I mean, if you believe in yourself and somebody's doubting you, show up and show them. That's it. And I think you did. I mean, it's all the better that you guys are still friends.
Great friends. Like her, like it's her. She's the one that brought me into real estate and got me the job with that investor. She was like the manager there. And I mean, she's the godmother to my daughter. Like we're super close. Talk to him all the time. It took about a year, to get to a friendship again. Like my feelings were definitely hurt, but like I loved both of them to where it's like I wanted to squash it, but I still had that chip. Like it still bugged me, but it didn't mean that I still couldn't appreciate them and we could work past our things. And they were so mad that I would just always bring it up. And they're like, dude, you like get the fuck over it. And I'm like, okay, like I'm definitely over it. I don't think I've even told this story in probably like 3 years of like kind of one of those big whys early on was definitely not being believed in by people that believed in me, but they didn't not believe in me, but they wanted to grow this big thing. And as I said, they got bad advice. They came to me and said, we were fucking wrong. They're like, obviously we made a mistake, but I still don't even listen to that part. I was like, nah, you don't believe in me. I'm going to go show you. I'm just stupid, crazy, honestly.
Well, that's it. I mean, I love that you said it. You're stupid, you're crazy, honestly. And I said it myself. I'm delusional. I was delusional at times as well. Bro, I never had people believe in me. And I mean, my close friends believed in me. My parents didn't. There's a short on this page where it's like, my dad didn't approve, but he always supported. When I went broke, I was like, hey, Dad, I need $500. He's like, okay, I got you. But he never approved of the decision that I made of not finishing college, not finishing anything, and just starting my own business. Nowadays he does, but I mean, this is not uncommon. There's a lot of people that that are thinking of starting a business or selling a product or whatever, anything, and they're not doing it because they fear, they doubt themselves. And usually it's also other people saying, yes, your idea might be shit or something else. I mean, probably people have told the founder of Uber that his idea was shit. Look where we are right now. Anything can happen. So what's your motivational word to somebody that wants to start their idea, and it's holding them back?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, just tap into what happened to you. Like, sometimes you say, fuck it, fuck them. But yeah, I don't know.
I just, back to my original point, it's just go do it. It's just like, just, you said that too. It's just, sometimes you just gotta, it's just, failure is okay. Like, we've had so many product launches, so many go to markets that I was convinced was going to add millions of dollars to our top line, and they absolutely flopped. We've created products that we've shut down, especially early on. We were trying all these different things, and all everyone sees is like, damn, you guys have done so much right. And I'm like, dude, if I could show you all these different failures inside, the Batch brand, there was a lot. And even our B2B, that was almost our biggest failure. We were ready to pull the plug on Batch Data. We were 2.5 years in and $4 million in the hole of development. And we had like maybe $200,000 a year in revenue. We had the wrong people. B2B is very different than B2C with emotions, with how you sell, with how you position the product, with just the life cycle of the customer journey. It was a learning lesson.
How did you find success in that B2B space? Because you're telling me, hey, 4 million in the hole, and for software development, we had 200K coming in a year. How did you turn it around?
I had to fire people and hire better people.
Okay.
Honestly, I had to go find people that it was wrong hires at the beginning, honestly, and their intentions were well, but as the founders, we didn't know enough to direct them. I had to go hire people that knew more than me in that space. I could help with the real estate and the data side, but for the go-to-market, for the sales process, for the everything, we needed better people. And it was very apparent that needed to happen. And we probably waited too long, to be honest with you. But I had a lot of diverted attention to the B2C products and growing those. And they were making, there's at one point that I think one year we made $40 million in top line revenue between those products. So that was just like a little side thing too, to some degree. But I also didn't like losing, a couple $100,000 a month on that product line, working through it, developing it, spending money on marketing. We put together like a outbound, sales team, and like in this specific space that does not work. It was just a lot of learning.
Okay, so let's double click on the people here, because I think that's an important thing. I think I heard you say one time you need to find the right partners and people with different superpowers, essentially. I think you found that with the team that you're working with, Ivo and N. But talk to me about your hires, right? So you said they made a significant impact. Now, I think anybody that's a business owner knows what you're talking about. I think we've all had this one hire that we're like, okay, intentions are good, but the results might not be there. But things could have been so much different if they hired the right person for the right job. What are the insights that you gain? Like, what do you value more in a hire nowadays that you did before, maybe?
I think before I really wanted to lead people and, help them prosper and get better. And once I really learned, if I really want to scale something to a place I haven't been, I really wanted to hire people that were actually better than me and that I could learn from. Now, I could still lead them with the vision and the mission and where we're trying to go, but I want people that are exponentially more talented than me. And I am okay with them being that. I need to be able to hold them accountable and understand what they're doing and help. But if you're on my executive team, you better be fucking smarter than me. And that's my gift, is like, my job is to go find people that are smarter than me and get them bought in on something really cool that we're doing and have them get behind it. And if they do a really good job and we go sell one day, you're going to get a little piece of that. And that is my biggest job by far. And that is my biggest focus. And that is the most important thing to go from 7, 8 to even a 9-figure business. Is it's the people, and it's the people at top. And if you're hiring people that you're smarter than because that's what you need to be, you're doing a disservice to your team, yourself, and you probably won't get there because your job is to hire someone that's already done it and help you get there, not the other way around.
Yeah, and one of the lessons I've learned myself that I can echo here is it's yeah, you can trust your gut, but somebody that did it 10 times and you haven't done it once, you trust the person that did it 10 times. Pay a little bit extra to make sure you have the right people there, because it's going to make your path to success so much easier. You're going to learn faster. You're going to, we have the process of crawling, walking, and sprinting. You're going to start running so much faster with the right people. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson that people need to go through. It's not something that you just hear and you say, okay, I'll do it. No, I think you need to feel that pain. I think you really need to feel that pain as a business owner.
And early on too, I wish I would have got more comfortable with paying bigger salaries quicker, because it's tough for you to. I remember the first time I had a $100,000 salary, and I thought that was, insane. And then I remember like 2 months later, we hired, our chief product officer, and, that being a multi six-figure, salary. And that was so hard because we went from just barely touching, six figures to someone saying, I want a big pile of money. And I remember Eva, my partner who runs the technical side, he's like, do you know how this is what kind of flipped. He's like, you know how much it will cost us if we don't hire him? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, he has an experience that I don't have, and he's going to help us get there faster. He's going to help put our teams together. He's going to help just like get that organization proper and right, and bridge that gap from our CTO, because we have a CTO and then a chief product officer, to where it's like the dev side's the dev side, but how are we scoping out the job and how are we getting that to our dev team? And we had no processes or systems in place. And this dude has worked for some really big companies. He's in his mid 50s. He's done this forever, and the dude's just a grinder and a workaholic, and he loves what we're doing. He's like, we got to hire him. And I was just like, I looked at him and I was just like, you're fucking crazy. Let's do it.
I think those things are important sometimes, specifically in key defining moments. And I think that was one of them. I mean, looking back, do you think it was one of the key defining moments? I assume you do, right?
There was like 5 hires that were like very, very key defining moments for us, building out our executive team. And as I said, getting people that knew how to do things that we couldn't. But what I've learned over all of that too is they may be better than me in a lot of areas and expertise in their specific craft that we hired them for. But I also learned that, and I learned that lesson recently is, trust yet verify. But when I say verify, go all the way down to the surface level metrics. And it's not that you're trying to micromanage or you don't trust them, but there just may be some values or some insights that you could help with as well. And also make sure they are who you think they are. Because I got a little surprised with as some of the people left as I dove into some of the departments that I had to start helping in with, to where I was like, I think you may have checked out a little bit, because just some of the little details that are really easy to button up weren't being done. And I was just a little disappointed with some of that, but it taught me to be like, okay, like you could only give them so much control to where you're still the owner. You still need to hold them accountable. And every now and again, they may need a little kick in the butt as well. You know what I mean? It's not saying they can't do it, but they may need that too. And I don't think I was doing that enough probably this last year or so.
Yeah, I think focus is an important thing, and focus can get you. Putting focus on building the business can sometimes take the focus away from making sure the business keeps running. And it's a forever switching situation where, specifically, if you're so tied in as a founder and the company is still, at a relatively, I say small, I don't know the headcount, but even at 500, a company could be small compared to a Microsoft, for example. Sometimes you need to drill down, and I think as the CEO, you need to make sure your product is the best you can deliver. Right? And specifically as a founder, I think as a founder you have this inherent, relationship of love with your business. So you want to make sure every little nook and cranny is as clean and as good and as best as it is. And that's different when a CEO or an executive comes in. However, sometimes it's also good that somebody doesn't have that big of a relationship with the company, because they are therefore less fearful of making bigger decisions and impacting decisions. Whereas you as a founder might say, hey, I want to slow this down. This is too scary for me. I'm not ready for this yet. Whereas they all like, no, we got to go. We just got to go. And you got to trust the process, essentially. I think they both have their benefits, but I definitely see what you're doing as a founder. Definitely.
Yeah, we got up. I think we peaked at about 250 employees back in 22. And then obviously as the landscape changed the last couple of years, and it, impacted real estate significantly, I think we had about 150 when we sold, and then 100 went over with the new company. And I think we're in like the mid 40s now, which is funny to a lot of small businesses, they feel like, 30, 40, 50 people is pretty big. And to me, I'm like, this is a walk in the park. As I said, I got an email from you on Thursday. I was like, I got time Monday. I'll be good. You got a couple meetings in the morning. But, for me, as you grow, it's just, especially when you're bootstrapped and when you're the founder of something, it's more people problems that started sucking up a lot more of my times than even the operational stuff, which was part of it. But having significantly less amount of people, and there's 3 of us that founded it. So especially my side got way smaller with a lot of sales and marketing and RevOps people that went over with the new business, to where it's like, we got just like a small team of 10 or 12. And I have a great CRO that we just moved in that position, to where it's like, I almost have to just stay out of the way half the time. And they actually put me in marketing. So now I'm head of marketing, just diving in there. They're like, go get us better leads. Like, you're good at that. Like, go do that. So I'm basically like the VP of marketing again. Our head of marketing transitioned out after the sale, and then basically the rest of our marketing team went over. So like, I literally have like a paid media, Google person on our team, and me. Like, that's it. I have no one on like the production side anymore. Something we'll hire sooner than later, but I just wanted to get, like, I was like, let's focus on getting this right, getting our paid ads right, and then I'll start focusing on some organic content and bringing the podcast back, and some of the stuff like that.
I have a question. Like, how is it now? Like, you went from 200 to 150 to 40, and that's not in a sense of it went bad. It's in a sense of you sold. I mean, let's make it real. You sold. You should be happy, right? But leaving that aside, everybody loves a big cash out, but leaving that aside for a second, you're now with 40 people. Like, how does that, or 40-ish? How does that feel? Like, do you feel like you're like? Do you feel like the amount of people are a success measure? Do you feel like you're still successful? Did that put a chip on your shoulder, or is it no, I'm happy like this?
That's I've actually been pondering this question. I definitely have had some of that post exit like weirdness, lost a little bit type of feeling, because I lost a lot of people that I led that had been, my sister has worked with us since the beginning, and she's on the other side. Our head of HR that started with 10 people, and I miss some of those people and spending every day with them. And like, I miss a lot of the relationships that I had. And I don't think I miss like more people, so I'm more important. That it's just, I don't know. It's just different. It's weird. It feels like I've taken steps backwards, but I haven't, as you said. Because it's so small again, and I'm like twiddling my fingers. I was like, I don't know what to do half the time, because like I could get so much more done with so much less just day-to-day bullshit with people and problems and organizations, and having 4 different products that I have to make sure the marketing's good on, and the sales guys are like, it's just so much less to do. I'm still learning how to. It's weird. It's just interesting, to be honest with you, but I like it. I could be a lot more focused, which I enjoy, which is great. But I've been so used to chaos for the last, 7 years, that it's just weird for me, I guess, because I'm used to just always having so much to do. And it's not quite that case anymore, to where more strategic and more focused now.
I wonder, it's like, do you have like this, or you're like, what now? Like, do you have like your what now moment, or are you starting to get your post exit clarity, as they say?
Well, what now is grow this, sell this. So like, I have a very defined purpose of like, I got a taste of selling. It was probably the most rewarding feeling I've ever got. I know you've exited before as well. I worked really, really hard to do something and to build something that was truly really good. And having someone say, I think you did such a phenomenal job. I want to hand you this much money. And it was just something that we said from the very beginning. We're intentional when we started. We didn't know how or what or when we were going to do it, but I just always spoke it into existence. Like whenever someone asked, we're building to sell, we're building to sell, we're building. I manifested that motherfucker, like never shied away from it. If we didn't sell or it went under or whatever, that would have been something I would have eaten. But I was always intentional with how I thought, with what we wanted to do. And our employees knew that was going to happen eventually. But it was honestly the best feel. Like I literally like cried when we closed. Like it was like tears of happiness, frustration. The last 2 years have been really hard. It was just like all of it came out. I was like sitting in my closet, weirdly enough. And just like, it's a big closet, but I was just like, my wife was gone. It was like, we closed July 1st. So it wasn't that long ago, right? She was already gone in Newport Beach and I was there by myself wrapping it up. We're letting the team know. And it's like at 11 p.m. the night before, everything finally got signed and stamped and sealed and delivered. And I was like, okay, this is going to happen. And it was just like, it was like relief, joy, excitement. And then I had to go tell 100 people that they're going to work for their biggest competitor the very next morning. So they were shocked.
I'm assuming there's also part of you that was like this oversense of, I don't know, feeling of, no, I don't want to say success, but like completion, like, I fucking did this. Right, from starting where you started, from having the history you had, from having that chip on your shoulder, and then to being here. I mean, that's got to be it's also big. It's a big statement you're making at that point. That's got to be some realization as well. I can imagine.
My mind really went to not really me and my accomplishment. I really was thinking more about all the people and all the support I got to help us get there. Like I bought a lot of nice bottles of tequila. The former partner that actually brought me into this whole thing and took a chance on me, I went and bought her very expensive Chanel purse to thank her. And she wasn't even a part of like the SaaS side, but she was always in my corner, like rooting for me.
Well, that's good. It's good to give back and good and that's the thing, right? You hire people for the right reason to grow. And it's also good to be thankful at those times when you achieve these specific milestones, because it's 100% true. You founded the business, you started the business, but they helped you build the business. It's good. It's a good call out there. I appreciate that.
We were also what really blew us up in like 2019, 2020, before I would say it was quite as big, but we were very, very affiliate driven. So we had a lot of influencers in real estate space and they were using our product and promoting our product. So like a lot of outreach to them, because like I am so very, very well aware that if they weren't there, and those were some of the guys that were supporting us really on in that room, pushing each other, and we were all really there for each other, was it high tide raises all boats or whatever. And we were really doing that to each other. And there was a lot of calls to them, a lot of, $1,000 bottles of tequila being sent out and dropped off. And I just really took like, how did we get here? And it truly was a ton of people supporting us and believing in us. And I got a lot of phone calls from people that I haven't talked to in 2, 3, 4 years that just said, that is incredible. Like, I'm so proud of you.
So let's dive into like, was it hard for you to sell? Like, because you said it was, you started in as a kind of a realtor. I don't know if that's
realtor / real estate. Yeah. I was more of a real estate investor that had my real estate license.
Real estate investor.
Yeah.
The one thing they're famous for is buying and selling, right? So you telling me, Sean, I was intended on selling. I was like, yes, I know, because that's where you came from. So that's an easy one for me. But one, was there ever a doubt in you selling it? Second of all, was there a moment where you maybe were like, no, I'm gonna, or was it always no, I'm gonna go, like this, no doubt at all? When the moment came, because it's easy to say you want to sell, but
No, I mean, we were intentional with the three of us were always on board and we were all ready to sell. And with software, you have to get acquired. Like you can only be, it's expensive. You can only be bootstrapped for so long. You need to get acquired. You need to get funding, especially typically to get to, 50, $100 million in revenue. Like it's really hard to do it completely bootstrapped. Really, really, really hard. And I felt like the two products that we sold to PropStream / Stewart Title, like we got it to where we could get it to. They were number one. We were number two. They were better. And we were building the same features. We were doing the same stuff. They had better marketing, a bigger market share. And I was like, if we can't beat you, let's join. Let's go slam and hammer all the other competition that's below us. I'll help be a part of that with you. And they have a really good culture. Like we weren't on the market when we sold to them. We really reached out to him, their CEO, and was like, hey, we have really good data. We do. That's one of our, competitive advantages over you. Like, you're buying it from somewhere, you could buy it from us. Someone's going to buy the UX and the UI. Like the data helps and there's some competitive stuff to that. But I really just reached out to them to figure out how we could be partners. And I jokingly told them, I was like, I'm so bought in on this B2B side. I was like, I'd sell you batch leads and Dialer, like just to prove a point. And he goes, would you? And I'm like, I was like, I'll sell anything for the right price. And he's like, no, seriously, would you carve those out if we wanted those two specific products? I was like, have you been thinking about this? And he's like, it's just kind of weird timing is what he told me. And then 7 months later, they bought us. So it was like really weird how it happened, but I got to know their culture. I got to know their executives, their team. And ultimately, they were a little understaffed. We were kind of flattish to where we didn't have a lot of room for growth over the last year and a half. And there's a lot of great people on our team that needed to have growth, or else I feel like they may have left, even though they didn't want to further their careers. And I feel like it was a really good opportunity for a lot of people on our team to go shine and go grow and go merge and have them go build something special. And I'm happy to say that they are all very happy. The first couple of weeks or first month was just a lot of uncertainty and people are nervous. But now that they've gotten to the flow of it, they're really excited. Some people have got promoted. And, ultimately, as a founder, I want to make my bag. But at the same time, I also want to make sure that the people that helped us get there, that they have an opportunity to grow wherever we leave them. And I feel like we got lucky because that is definitely not always the case. So I'm very, very grateful for what we got to put together and how I really got what us as founders wanted. And we really got to give people that moved over there an opportunity with a good organization. I'm very proud to say that we made the right decision.
Is that something that was part of your negotiation as well, where you're like, hey, we want to make sure our people land well?
Yeah. That was a big part of theirs too. Like they're like, we want to keep everyone. Now, if they don't fit or it doesn't work or they have a bad attitude, that's that. But they're literally like, and that was my biggest fear is like, are they going to just get rid of half the people and try and trim down and get as profitable as possible? And it's funny, we went to our first dinner together and we both had the same concern. So I was like, okay, it sounds like we're pretty well aligned here. So, and just getting to know them and their team, and me and the CEO are still really close. I go to events to go help promote with them. That's like part of my agreement, and go on podcasts and as we transition out. And, it wasn't perfect, but I've heard a lot of stories and I know that they were very good to us, and, what they said is what they're doing, and vice versa. So if I ever sell something to anyone, they hand me a pile of money, I'm the type of guy that's going to make sure I'm going to do what I promise them, if it's on the contract or not on the contract. Like it's a small world out there, and my name means a lot to me, to be honest with you.
I can appreciate that, specifically as a founder myself and having people under my wing. You speaking of contracts, Is there anything specific that you learned from this negotiation, this exit? Where like, okay, that's one thing or that's the thing I'm going to do different, or this is the one thing I need people to know about when they're going to be in this position?
If you're doing software, make sure you get, luckily nothing happened, but if you're doing software, any engineer that touches your code or your product, make sure that they're saying that you own 100% of it. Because that could become a problem if people come and say, this is my software, my proprietary stuff. And we did not know that. I think we started doing it to some degree, but knowing what that needs to look like as you start a software and knowing that early on, that would be like my biggest advice is make sure that whoever's working for you, that code is proprietary to the business, not to the person. And you have to have a proper contract set in place to make sure that that doesn't bite you in the ass if you do have a big exit in the future, because people will come back and they will try and get theirs if they find out you sell.
I don't think a lot of people think about that. I think that's a very valuable thing for people, because you could definitely get shot in the foot with this. 100% sure.
I had no idea.
Yeah, me neither, to be honest. You're learning me something also. This is we have early stage plans of starting something as well. And I think this is a gold nugget. And I see so many people starting businesses just random with people and hiring people where this can really come to bite you in the foot if motivations are, I would say, wrong, right? Or don't align at some point in the future. You never know. You got to make sure these things are taken care of. Is there a part of the negotiation where you're like, okay, this is something, obviously this is one thing you learned. Is there something you want to, or is there something else you want to share, something you learned?
I went with an approach, I would say, to not battle them and focus on, we wanted to sell to them, they wanted to sell to us. But I try to always keep us in a positive mindset. There's going to be stuff that we disagree on and that we're going to battle on. But I always would end the conversation with, ultimately we both want the same things, but we're also each trying to protect ourselves to the best of our ability. And the head of M&A for Stewart did a really good job too, saying, hey, if our lawyers are bickering back and forth, I need to have an open line to call you and you need to have an open line to call me, to where we're not having the lawyers waste our money when we could just get on the phone and agree to something. Or if it's not as important to one of us or the other, concede on that so we can move forward. And I feel like even though he's on the other side, he kind of like mentored us to some degree, which was interesting because that's typically not the case. But they're not private equity, you know what I mean? They're a publicly traded company. Of course, they want to do what's best for their shareholders, but they don't want us to hate them when we get done with this transaction. And, I always wanted the transaction to happen and us to all be in a place to where it's like, I'm excited to go help them. They're excited that they paid us a bunch of money and want to work, close in hand with us. So I just really went to the approach of instead of being divisive, let's really try and be on the same team. We all want the same thing. How do we get there? Like, everyone's going to get hot occasionally, but just know that we're disagreeing on this. We're not disagreeing on the holistic approach of what we're trying to accomplish. And I tried to keep everyone, our bankers, my partners, their CEO, like I tried to always be there and be positive and remind each other of what we're trying to accomplish, and also remind each other that when we get this done, it's just the beginning, because no one in our organizations know about it. And we need to seem like we're getting along. We need to seem happy and excited. And if we're battling to the bitter end, you're going to see that we're not on the same page. And luckily we were, and it showed to both sides of both businesses that this is going to be a good thing and you should be excited about it.
No, so you kind of set a dot on the horizon and reminded yourself and others about what the goal is. I think that's a very valuable trait. I wonder if that would work with VCs as well. It's a different story.
No,
or you have to VCs, or you're like, no, I want to do something similar to this if you had the chance or the choice.
Yes, I I would love, and I've already built relationships with some of the people I think in the future that we might be able to sell to in the strategic line of things when it is time to go. I would like to do the same thing because most of the time too, especially in this B2B data side, it takes a long time for someone to get up to speed. So I think our employees would be very valuable to them if they need more or they're leaner and looking to grow. So I would love to take the same play and just do it to a different team is kind of how I look at it, but you never know. But I've talked to a lot of people that have sold to PE, hedge funds, VC backed or whatever, and they try to do what I did and they just got completely taken advantage of. They're like, with those guys, you just got to be a savage and they're going to act like they're your friend and stab your ass in the back or hold up the sale. So I was like, so they're like, when you go sell next time, if it's not a strategic, take a very different approach and just be brutal on them and get everything you can out of it. And I was just like, noted, good to know.
Appreciate that. I mean, I've had my fair share of knowledge when it comes to VCs. I've had the pleasure, and the not pleasure of sitting in the same rooms with them in acquisitions and mergers. And I can tell you, it's not a stay as far away as you can. I do want to focus on the other side. So we spoke about the exit just now. You mentioned, look, you started Batch with 2 people. But all of you had a running business with cash flow that you could inject into the new business, right? So from one sense, I could say you started Batch from a maybe more a lucky position than a lot of founders start from now. But obviously, you built your own business before from zero. So we're going to put value into this. You've learned from You've learned from having, you've learned how to get the right partners essentially because you feel that as well. You learned your lesson hard. Now you've had an amazing exit with a few people, and now you are, I think you've gained a great lesson also how you can achieve things together. Let's say you want to start a business, right? So somebody here is listening and they want to start a business and they've got a friend. Now we spoke already about the contracts you need to have with your team. Whether when you're building software, what do we have to do when it comes to our co-founders? What are things we need to consider? How do you start a business together correctly?
I would say you go read the book Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman. It really talks about visionaries and operators. And if you partner with someone that is similar to you or another visionary, someone's going to have to take a backseat in operations or into a place that they're not suited to where I think that's a great book to read when you're looking to have a partner or want to have a partner. But you really want to find, and when people start a business, they actually typically want to find someone like them because it makes them feel right and they're thinking the same things and doing the same things. You actually want the polar opposite. Like find that person that loves doing the things that you're not good at and vice versa. That's when partnerships actually work, like Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, 2 very different people. One's a visionary, one's the operator, one's the back end. That's why it's called rocket fuel. If you find the right partner, dude, sky is the limit. And actually, those first partners were the right partners because they were both operators. We just didn't know each other's skill sets. Like Annie and Evo are very similar to Jared and Danielle, like very, to be completely honest with you. We just didn't know how to set up the organization to where we could all be successful. And that was a learning lesson for all of us. We just didn't know. We hadn't read the right books. We had a bad consultant come in. It wasn't really them. It was really shitty advice from a consultant, to be honest with you. Like I kind of put it on them earlier. It's not. It was bad advice from like, that dude should have instantly known. It's like, hey, you guys like to work. Like she's finance. He was CRM, operations, stuff like that.
Right.
I was,
yeah.
But they were like the right people. We just didn't know that we were. And I'm so fortunate because if it did work out with them, Batch would have never happened, and they would have been miserable. Because like they were dating too, and they wanted to do like their own. Everything happens for a reason. I'm so grateful for the first partnership I had. It taught me a ton. That taught me a lot to set expectations properly for my new partners. And to be completely honest with you, I've so grateful for Andy and Evo, because like they know what I'm good at and they know what I'm awful at, and they let me go shine where I'm good, and they pick up the slack for where I'm poor. And them knowing that, it's just like, and being okay with that, knowing my strengths and weaknesses of a person that I am, I'm just, they truly let me be me and let me be great. And especially as a visionary, you don't always get that. There's no resentment. They want none of the shine. They let me take all of it. They just get to keep as much money as me, and they don't give a flying fuck about anything else.
I think that's a wonderful insight. I love how you pitched it. I just want to make sure, like, I really understand what you're saying, and I want people to understand as well. Rocket fuel, right? It's the cocktail. It's mixing things up together. You can have 2 people, you can have 3 people, but it depends on how much everybody, can shine, but also lets each other shine. How much you can't make 100% with 3 people. Some of you will have to. You have to let some of your stuff fall away, because somebody else needs to take ownership of that. And whether that's 20, 40, 30, whatever, know your role, and that's the way you got to operate. I love it. Jesse, thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Jesse Burrell, people, batchdata.io. And I'd love to see you again.
Sean, I appreciate you having me. And, I hope I was able to give some insights to, people listening or watching this, because,
definitely,
you're, as we both kind of said, your journey is right ahead of you. And for you guys that haven't started it yet, just go do it. And if you fail, you'll learn something, I promise. And hopefully you don't. And hopefully, you could have stories like me and Sean, and be able to give back to the people that want to do it next. So this is a great podcast. I truly appreciate you having me on.
I love it. Fail and learn, people. Just repeat it as much as possible, and get your success down the line. Jesse, thank you very much.